Yeah, hello everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and based on wherever you are joining this call from. So, moments. All right. I hope we are having a great day. Let me see at the comment section if you are here already. All right. Let me see at the comment section if you are here already. How many people are here already? Okay, good. Good evening, Bukola. Good evening, Victoria. Good evening, Sophie. Good evening, Folarin. Good evening, ladies in tech. Trust we are so much ready, fully energized, and ready for tonight's class. Okay, okay. Good evening. All right. I hope it's been a wonderful time. All right. That's Oluwatoyin Adelabu from South Africa. Good evening. Yes, you're welcome. Um, good evening. Good evening. Good evening. All right, let me start by saying that I hope we can I get into this class as the grid is not back on. I hope to catch up soon when the light is back. I wish you all the best. Right. Um, I want to believe we have all gotten our document, project document for us to start working on. Let me say the project is a progressive one, so you don't wait till the end of the OBI class before you start implementing. It's a phase. There's one part that had to do with what's it called now? Excel. There's another part that had to do with SQL, and then to Power BI. So please, let's start doing something on it because we're going to be having a strict deadline to hit. And let me also say this for the sake of people who come to class very early. You're going to be writing an exam. You're going to be writing an exam soon. And then that will cover for all you have learned. And then that is one of the criteria that we use for people that actually be qualified for the mentorship sections. So please don't uh, don't relent at this point in time. This is the time you need to really sit up and then get encouraged. And I wish you guys all the best. All right. I hope we are ready for the section tonight. I hope we are good to go. All right, then can I see at the comment section if anybody remember where we stopped at the last class so that we can know or I can know where we are starting from. Yes, anybody? What is the timeline for the submission of the capstone project? Thank you. You will get it just the way you have gotten details about the assignment. Don't worry yourself. You'll get the time. Okay, Raymond said DAX functions. Okay. Please do not relent. Akin to Joy Esther. Do not relent. This is the time you really need to sit up because what we're going to be doing today actually is more important. In fact, as a matter of fact, without the proper grip or understanding of what we are going to be doing today, you might actually have issues, right? Because we are looking at the data analysis expression, we are looking at data analysis expressions, and actually covers for a whole range. Okay, I can't access the file on my canvas. So what could that, or what do you think is the issue? Where is the project? The project will be on the canvas, on the LMS, of course, on the LMS. So please, I love that we pay attention and then we can be sure everything we are doing is up to date. All right, let me share my screen very quickly so that we can just dive in. Yes, sir. All right, so please let me have the screen up and then You can take away my face so that we can get to work. All right, thank you guys. Yes, thank you. All right. Now, these were some of the things we actually did at the last class, and then we were able to saw the message for the project, but not the file. Okay. Don't forget to always zoom your screen. Okay. Oh. I had you, Stephen Oluwatoyin. Okay. Been able to access my project on Canvas. Okay. All right. So these were some of the documents we did at the last class. All right. And then we were able to narrow down, work with some table. I remember at the last class we were able to talk about so we're able to talk about what's it called now? Appending of columns, merging of columns. We're able to look at some highlights, right? I hope I'm correct. We stopped that introduction to DAX function. Yes. You you had to get answer to how to delete unwanted file on GitHub. It was not mentioned in the class on GitHub. If you need to delete any project, go to your settings. Under your settings, scroll down, 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 down. You will see a place that talks about security, and that is where you can delete your project. Now, that is that about the person that asked about a question around the deleting of project. Now, what we want to do today, just like I mentioned the last time, is to look at DAX functions. And then what I mean DAX function, it means data analysis expressions. Okay, so what is data analysis expression? Data analysis expressions are the mathematical way by which you express the data or you manipulate your data, such as a way by which the values or the data that you are not privy to from what you have, and then creating a space for you to have it captured in your data. Now, let me say it such a way that should in case while you are working on a particular project, and let me say it this way, that most of the things you would do while working with your DAX function, you might not be given, you will need to engage in critical thinking to know what exactly that looks like. So, such as when you talk about the DAX function, it means, for instance, now one of the things you do with DAX function is you do some calculated columns, conditions, some conditions columns, some what's it called now, conditional calculations, or calculated conditions or columns now. So what that means is you are trying to bring in different values and then summing them or engaging them to get a particular result. Just a moment, please. All right. So those are the things we want to do, and then we explore that by the usage of some of the data that we have with us already. Okay, so remember the last time we started by looking at how we can actually enter data. All right, you remember we did something like that. So today, with our DAX function, we're going to be doing some of the things we will be doing. I hope we have enough time to capture them. Reordering of columns, maybe how to reorder your column. We're going to be doing some text functions, maybe some concatenations. Those are the functions that, apparently some of the functions you use in Excel, how can we use them also here? We're going to explore some tables and matrices. Then we're going to see some conditional columns, how it worked. And then hopefully we're able to check one or two calculated columns, maybe with the measures and all of that. So those are some of the things we want to do tonight. So let's begin by the what's it called now? Where we stop. One of the tables we considered at the last time. Let me see one of the tables we can use. All right. Okay. Now let me just a moment. Let me zoom in this so that people can get to see this clearly. Don't forget, I said the last time that anytime you want to work on any data, the first thing you want to do is you want to take your data to where? You want to take your data to, you want to take your data to your where? I was expecting somebody to answer me. Transform data. Yes, that's the mechanic workshop. Good. I see that some of us are already seeing it. Okay, good. Okay. Now, just a moment. I need to bring up one of my. Okay. Now, this is my transform data now. And then let me increase this. I hope it's bigger now and clearer enough. Now, transform your data. That's your query. Mechanic workshop. I like that some of us remember the mechanic workshop thing. Okay. So now, the first thing we want to do is this. And I want you guys to follow me carefully. You remember the last time we worked with this email address, for instance, and then I told you that we can actually split this particular column. All right. You remember, right? That we can split this particular column. Now, let's say, for instance, you were given the data, and then you remember in one of the classes we had in Excel, I think, and then we are working with the data where we were only given the email address, and then we cannot possibly trace the username, maybe the name of the guys or of the people, but then we have the email address. And then we now think, what can we do to actually get the name? Are you getting me? So is there anything we can do to get the name from the email address? And then we said we can explore what? The split function with the email address. If we are able to split the email address, we will remove the domain side part, and then we have just the username, right? And then we can now convert that username to the name. Usually you have people's name or people's email address from their name, right? So that's the way it looks like. Just a moment, please. So now, what we want to do is we want to look at how we can do that from the place where we have our email address, remove the what's it called now, the domain from it, and then we can now put it as username. All right. So that is what we want to do now. But then just a moment, please. Just a moment, please. All right. So sorry about that. I had to quickly attend to something. Yes, thank you, Mustafa, for that. Yes, using the limiters. So now let's get to do that right away, and so that you can see what I'm talking about. Look at it. I have my email address here, and then I want to split this particular column. You see my split column option here, guys. I hope you're following me. Then I click on this split by what? By delimiter, and then I click, since my art is my delimiter here, I'm able to, I think I've done something like this before, so this should be like a revision. Now, if you look at it, I have two columns now. One column has what? The username, right? And the other column has the liter.com here. So what we are looking at is how we want to remove some column or reorder some columns. Now, here, what we have is the email address one and then the email address two. Since we don't need this email address because there's nothing I really need this for, I can just come here, right click, and then remove it. So that is out already, right? Now, we are assuming that we do not have this. That is why we are trying to do this. We are assuming we do not have this. This is what we have now. And then is there a way we can actually now probably edit this and then make it look like how is it called now? For properly formatted, maybe a proper case, a lower case. No, currently it's in the lower case now. Is it possible for us to make it probably at a upper case or a sentence case, as the case may be? Okay, which table are we using? We are using one of the tables of the liter class data. Remember, we had liter class data, right? So that is what data we are using currently. If you are still complaining about my screen now, I think you should just find yourself a good screen and then be sure you are actually in it. All right. So now we can rename this as name two. You can just come here, rename as, let's say, name two. Since we have a name one already, if you say we do not have any name, then we can just leave it at that. Now that we have this name, what are the other things we can do? So can we possibly just change this by saying that we want this to have or be in a proper case? If you're asking whether you have this file, so probably you're just joining this class. So I only opened the last file we used in this class. I only opened the last file we used in this class. So this was from the document we were working with in the class, in the last class. So I expect that by now we always all have all our data ready handed with us. So I only opened one of those files that we had, right? So that's what I did. Now, I have done this, and then, well, I can now do something like close and apply. Since what's it called now? I have applied that step. All right. Can you see that now? So this is loading the data in my model, and then it has what? It has completely loaded. And then let me come here, and then I have my what? My liter class data. See now, see my name two here. Name two is already appearing here. But what I want to have now is so simple. I still want to work on it a bit to say, I want to see how I can actually make a proper case from this so that it looks like a what? A big test. So what am I supposed to do? When you click on it, did you see the way I'm clicking on it? When you click on it, you can click on it now to say that, okay, insert a new column. Insert a new column. Did you see that? Insert a new column. So you can do something like this. Just a moment. Okay, just a moment now. Let's not explore it from here. Just a moment. I'm going to go another route. I'm trying to, how do I split? When you click on that column you want to work with, when you click on the column you want to work with, you click on it, and then you see your column, your split column on it. Just a moment, I'm coming. I'm looking for. Let me just transform. There's something I need to see on my data. Okay. Just pay attention. Don't worry. I will explain what I'm doing for you. Just a moment. All right. Now let me remove the. Now, wait, guys, just pay attention. I have increased it now. Can you see it now? Can you see it now? Is it better now? Can you see what I'm typing now? Can you see my screen now? Okay, it's better now. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you for that person. Titi Lope, thank you for addressing that. Okay. Now, look at it. This is the column we are working with. This is we have extracted the email address from this, and then we now have this. You remember, right? So what I want to do is this. I want to change, or I want this to have a proper case, either capital letter or small letter or sentence or all, whatever I want to have. So that is what I want to do with this particular column. So how can I do this? How I can do this is to call or to create a custom column. Now, if you come to your add column, here on your menu, can you see your add column? Can you see your add column now? Where is the other half of the email? I have deleted it. There's nothing I wanted to use it for. I removed it. Look at my applied steps. Can you see removed columns here? That's what's happened. This is where I removed it here. If I bring this back, what I removed will be there. So now click on your custom column, and then you will see what name did you want to give to your custom column. What name do you want to give it to it? Let's say new name. I want to give it new name, right? If that is what I want to give it to, please just pay attention, guys. I think I like that you pay attention more. Pay attention. Custom column. And after you have done that, how do you now? You remember when you are working with functions in Excel, when you needed to change your case, maybe from lower to upper, from upper to sentence. Who remember what particular function we used to change from lower to upper case? Does anybody remember? I think I've mentioned it already. I'm just waiting for somebody to type it. Upper, thank you. But if you need to now change to a sentence case, what are we going to use? What function are we going to use? If you need to change it to a proper case, I mean a sentence case. I've just mentioned it, proper function. So that's what you just need to do. Now just type proper here. Did you see type proper? And while you are typing proper, did you see text.proper? Text.proper, yes. Click on text.proper, then open your brackets, then click on the column. See these available columns here. The available columns, the column you want to change the case. And in this case, I want to change what? Name 2. Then you will insert it here. Name 2, insert it, and then close the bracket. Now, here you will notice something. No syntax error have been detected. Did you see that? No syntax error have been detected. So if you have that, you can now click close and let's see what happened. Can you see now? Can you see now that I now have what? A proper case. And if what you want is uppercase, you can as well do uppercase. Let me do one more time so that you can use uppercase and see which one. Let's say for upper name now, upper name, then you can use upper test dot upper bracket open, then name 2, insert, close your bracket, then click OK. Now, did you see this now? I have just recapped. I hope some of us are actually watching. You are just after recap. I have just done that like 2 times now. I've just done that like 2 times now. Why am I not able to close and apply changes? It says column Seattle not available. You must have deleted. You must have deleted it. Then, moreover, we are not working on columnar data now. If that is where you are, we are not working on columnar data. Seattle is a columnar data, so we are not currently working on it. How many of us have been able to achieve this with uppercase and with proper case? How many of us have done that? If you have done uppercase, put uppercase. Say I've done uppercase. If you have done proper case, put up done proper case. If you have done the 2, let me know. Yes, Samaluku, I'm seeing you tonight. You know, there are people I know when I see their engagement, I see them and I know when they are in class. All right, like that, miracle. I have achieved it. Good, done. Can we also use the format tool? Yes, you can try as many functions actually, proper and upper, okay? Done both. Good. Yours is showing error. Yes, Opayemi, why is it showing error? Did you use the function properly? If you have done or used the function properly, you should not get error. It's unlike Excel where we have to do equals to and select the column. Yeah, so here you have to type the name of the function and then you can now select click and then you can add it. So like I said, it is what? Little or low code. Yours is showing error. For those people who are whose theirs is showing error, let me do it one more time and then you might need to just pay attention now. Let me do it one more time and then you might just need to pay attention. Okay, let me do for which case again now? I think we have explored. Okay, let me change this upper name to lowercase, this particular upper name. So I want to change it to lowercase. So I click on what? Custom column. And then when I click on my custom column, I see what? Let me click lowercase now. Or yes, lowercase. Let me do lowercase for it. So that's the new name you want to have. The equal to is already there. The equal to is already there. Right? So just put what? Lower. And then you see that text dot lower. Can you see text dot lower? Just click on it. Open your bracket. Are you sure you opened your bracket? Those guys, how did you get to custom colon? Your custom colon is at your transform state of your data. I have said that all over more than, let me say 1,000 times in this class. Make sure you have transformed your data and you are at the transform state to see what that is. Then you are now what? By the time you open your text.lower, click on the one I wanted to change now is upper name. Then I insert it. Then I close my bracket and I click OK. It's that simple. Can you see that? It is that simple. All right. So that's that. If you are still having issue, I think you should just maybe after the end of this class, you should probably do a reward. Now, the other part of reordering here is if you probably now need to move this particular column. If you need to move this column probably to the name, let's assume this name is not there, right? And this name now, we want to remove this. You can just click on this name, right click on it and remove it. So this name is out already. You see that? Just right click on it and then remove it. And then you now want to bring any of this one to the front part. Just click on it, click down and drag. Did you see what I'm doing? Click down and drag. Keep dragging until you get to where you want to drop it. You keep dragging it until you get to where you want to drop it. Did you see that? You click dragging until you get to where you want to drop it. Is that making sense now? I want to move it to the first part. Now, I'm doing this because I zoomed out. That's why I have to be doing it little by little. Now, did you see now? Is now in the first column of my data. Is now in the first column of my data. Did you get that? Is it making sense now? Did you get it? All right. Thank you. Now, the next thing we want to do is we want to look at how you can also combine some text functions. Say you want to do some how to combine text functions. Now let me assume I'm done with this one, and then I can just do close and apply. Go back to your home, then close and apply. All right. So I have done close and apply with this, and then my data is uploading. Up Power BI. Yes. So yes, this can only be done. I've told you, maybe you are just joining this class. That's Glory Ordini. Now, anytime you need to work anything with your data, you need to take your data to your transform state. Now, look at what we want to do next is this. You remember I taught us how to create a table in this class, how to enter data entry, right? Manually, right? So what we want to do is this. We want to work on a table. Now we're going to create a table, then you guys do your own, I'll do my own. And what we want to do is this. You want to create enter data. You just come to your home tab here, then enter a data. And then once you click enter data, you can rename it as maybe what can we change? Let's put it as a name data. Name data. Name data, right? Name data. Now, let's put it at name data. Then what I need you guys to do now, you guys pay attention. This is what I need you to do. Now, I need you to create 3 columns. The first column is, rename this first column as what? Prefix. Prefix. The first column, the next column will now be first name. And then the last one will now be last name. Did you see that? Prefix, first name, and last name. Prefix, first name, and then I think you guys can just fill up that in maybe about 5 data. Prefix, you can say Mr. Right? Mr. Then first name is who? Ogundeji. And then last name can now be what? Opeyemi. Right? Then the next one we can have Mrs. Right? Ruth. Then Othem. Right? We can have another one, Miss Aye no Ngozi. All right. Then we can have Professor James Okadibo. Then lastly, I can have Dr. MF Sunday. Now, this is my data, right? I've been able to create this data. Then let me come to load the data. Just load your data, and then you will see it at the corner of your data, just the way you have seen the other data. Now, can you see it? Can you see your data at the name data, just like I have my own here? If you can see Professor Temidayo. Okay, is that what you use in your own? Titilokwe? Okay, today's class is interesting. Wow, thank you. Just follow up. There's still so many exciting things you need to pick from this class. So many exciting things. Yeah, all right. Extra interesting. You have gotten it. Amazing. Good stuff. All right. How many of us have seen the name data, or you are done with your data? How many of us have been able to create our table? How many of us have been able to say, if you have created your table? Let me see at the comment section. If you have created your table, so sorry about so many people complaining about the collapse grid. So sorry, so sorry. But then just try and pay attention since you are here already. You can get the class recording later and then watch, and then you can practice. All right. So for those of us that have created the what's it called now? The name data, you can click. Can you see now when I click on it and then I come to my data view? I just saw my what? I just saw my data now, right? Did you see that? So just a moment, let me do something so that I can explain it to you guys. I want to check whether it works here or we can do it at the other place. Okay. Now, listen up, guys. Created, good. Listen up. Under your data view, you see your data view here. This is where I have my data, right? You see that my data is there. Under my data view now, if you look up here, under your home, you will see new column. Did you see new column? So click on the new column, and then under the new column, it wants to ask you for the name or for the formula you want to put to achieve the new column. So what we are doing here, like I mentioned, when you are working with a data analysis expression, you are creating your own columns by applying some measures and principles. So we are doing this with our columns that we already have now. That is why we are able to achieve this. I hope you guys are paying attention. All right. So what we want to do is this. We want to merge all these names that we have together. For instance, now, Ogundeji Opeyemi, can we have it in a single place? Is it possible? That's what we want to do now. Do you get that? So that's what we want to do. So still under your table view now, and your own view, you will see new column. And under the new column, click on it, and you will see your formula bar here. Did you remember your formula bar? Just rename your formula bar as maybe new name or whatever name you want to give it. Let me put it as a new name. Let me put my own as new name. And then my new name is what? Now, how do we bring or join two names together? We can join two names together either ways or two ways. Number one, you can use a concatenate functions. You can use what? A concatenate functions. So you can say concatenate. By the time you type it, you will see the function there. Then it will ask you text one and text two. So if you click on this, sorry, I made a mistake now. Concatenate. Now, if you click on your concatenate, it will ask you, did you notice something when you open your, let me do it again so that some persons can see what I'm saying. By the time you type your concatenate, while you are typing it, you see some other functions that are coming up, just like you see in your Excel functions, right? So I want to tap concatenate. Now, concatenate is out. Now, can you see here, just the same way you have in your Excel functions, I have two arguments, that is text one and text two. This is it here. How many of us have seen the argument now? How many of us have seen the argument? Okay, great. Thank you. I will take it over again. Yes. So now, text one. What is my text one? My text one is last name, right? I'll type my last name. Can we see that name, data, last name? Click on it, right? Then put comma. Then what is my second data now? First name, right? I'll now type first name, just the way you would do with your, what's it called now, your Excel. Then you close your bracket and then you press enter. You close your bracket and then you press enter. Now, did you see what happened now? I already have my name. But can somebody tell me what issue I have here? I should slow down. I actually have a list of things to cover tonight, and then I hope we are able to get there. So let me take it again. No space. Thank you. You guys are following me. For those of you that are saying no space, that means you guys are really following me. Interesting. That's very, very fantastic. Yes, I'll take it one more time, but then for those that are following me, just follow through and then let's finish this one and then we can now do it one more time. Now, you see that we are able to merge these two together, but then there is one issue we have here. The issue is there is no space. Now, how can we do or how can we resolve the issue of no space? How we can do that is by applying what we call the ampersand function. All right, the ampersand function. Now, or alternatively, you see that if we want to, what if we need to include the prefix in the name? When you put in your concatenate can take only two functions, and that is what the text one and text two. But if you need to use more than two columns or to merge more than two columns together, you can use another function. Now let's do another column. Let's insert another column here, new column. I've created a new column again now, and now let me put it as a new name one. And then in this new name one, what we want to have is we want to use a ampersand function. So I'll say first name or prefix now, prefix, name prefix, right? Ampersand. Then what's it called? Last name. Yes, ampersand. And then I have what? New or first name rather. First name. First name actually. Then I can now press enter. Let's see what we're going to have here. Now, if you notice this, the names are not separated. Yes. If you notice this, now, okay, so for this table view, I cannot zoom my screen here. For those of us saying that I should zoom my screen, I can't zoom my screen here until I get back to, what's it called now? Okay, let me quickly do something so that I can show us. I hope I'm able to do the same thing that, let me go to transform data. Let me close and apply first. Because all the update I've done here, I need to close and apply it. Yes, for those of us saying there is no, what is the name of the data I created just now? So I'm yet to see the update on it. Concatenate function, that's the name of the function. Concatenate and ampersand. Okay, just a moment. Okay, so those updates have not been added to it. So now, okay, use your hand to zoom in at your end. That's what I'm doing here. Let's not distract our teacher too much. Okay, name data. So yeah, I'm connected on three devices: TV screen, laptop, and phone, and I can still see what you were typing. Oh, so sorry about that. All right. Now, I was trying to see if I can zoom in at my, what's it called now? At my transform state, but I know it is tiny because of here I cannot zoom in at this point. I can't do zoom in at this particular view. I can't zoom in. Now, for those that are saying I should come again, let me explain what I have just shared with us. The data we shared on the canvas, but this particular data you are working on do not have it. Please, is it possible that it's shared again? This data was not shared. This particular data was created on this table. We manually created this data. Juliet, we manually created this data. Yes. Tosin, Timmy, you already got the idea. When you have two arguments, what you can use is concatenate. But when you have more than two arguments, what you use is ampersand. Thank you. That is just the difference. Sister, can you recommend the system for data analytics? Of course, I can always. So what you just need to get is at least get a Core i5 system and then make sure your system is XSD. In case you are using HDD, make sure it is SSD, and then at least let's say 8 gig RAM and then maybe 512 SSD or 256 SSD is also fine at least. And then make sure you also have a good processor speed. I think that is just the basis of what I think you need. It's best to watch now and then learn and then go back. Thank you. I'm just trying to see if there are questions. If you can't see, okay. All right. So now, but what we want to do now is we want to add space to what we have created. We want to add space. So either to the 2 or to the 3. How do we add space to it? You can actually add space to it by coming here and then put what? Now, I will tell you what I just did now. I will tell you because I know you might not see clearly. Now, in front of, what we used was ampersand, right? Or let me just create a new column to do that. Let me just create a new column to do that. Now, let me just create a new column. You can just come here, new column again. Then this new column, let's name it full name. Exactly. For Larry, see. Thank you for you have just put it out there for everybody to see. That's just what you need to put. Fulani has just put up my code up there. So let's put this one as what? Full name. So my full name now will be what? Prefix, right? Name prefix, ampersand, first name, right? Ampersand, because I'm doing more than two arguments, then last name, right? So, but then, so that I can include spaces in all of it, how do I include space? Immediately after my first ampersand, how do you do your space? You remember in your Excel function, your double quote, the two double quote, make sure there's a space in between it, make sure there's a space in between it, and then you put ampersand, double quote, and then ampersand after the double quote. Go after the next one too, put double quote, make sure there is a space in between the double quotes, and then you put your ampersand after it, and then you can now click enter. Then let's see what we're going to have now. Now, did you see that? So we now have a proper way of capturing our data. Does this make sense at all? Of course, you can download the video after and then rewatch. In case you can't see what I'm typing, just pick the comment of Olani Yemisi, because what she just did there was just to clearly put up my code up there. All right, just put up my code up there. So just make sure there is space in between the two in between the two what's it called now, quotes. Make sure there is space in between the two quotes that you are having. All right. So how many of us have been able to try this? How many of us have been able to try this? Makes sense. Gotten it. Thank you so much, Esther. I like that. All right. So I think it's good. It's good. Let's move on. Let's move on. Before our break, I think we can still do one more thing before the break. All right. So let's move on. So the next thing we want to do is we want to explore another function, how we can use our table function and our matrix function. All right, our table functions and our matrix functions. So how do we do it? Now, how can we do our table functions and our matrix function? Now, pay attention. Why I am doing all of this now is because I'm trying to teach independently all of these functions. Hopefully, before Friday class, we would have entered on how to run all of this approach with a particular data. Just one data from start to finish, and then we will see how it looks like. I hope before the end of this week. I hope so, because we are running out of time, honestly. All right. So now we want to work with the table, and then let me see one of the tables we can actually use. Um, Now, do we remember one of the tables we used during our Excel class? Pivot table. That's the data that has a pivot table now. There was a particular table we actually used, which was for pivot. How many of us remember that there was a table we used which was for the pivot? How many of us remember? Let me see at the comment section. How many of us remembered that table we used then? That data. All right, so we're going to bring in that data. Let's reference that data again. You remember, you know how to get your data, right? Everyone, I believe everybody in this class now should be able to get your data. So go to your get data and go and pick that pivot table file. Yes, the name is pivot table file. The name is pivot table file. Can you see it here? So just go and bring the table in. That data, go and bring that. It's pivot table file, not sales data. Pivot table file. Now, if you are bringing it in, you will see that you have maybe like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Either 5, or if you have more than 5, depending on what you have done with that particular data. Depending on what you have done on that particular data. Now, I'm doing this because so that we can make reference to everything we have worked with from Excel to SQL and then now to Power BI. All right. So now, if you click on, you can check on any of these sheets you are seeing here to see the exact sheet you want to use. Look at this one now. Dashboard is empty because it is visualization, so you cannot see it as data. That's why it's empty. Then on check it, on check the dashboard, on check the one which is the second one, which is the data. Can we preview it? You can check it. You can click it to check what is there. Now, can we see now? This is what I'm looking for actually. All right. So every other data here, I do not need them. Every other data, I don't need. So just tick only the one that has data. Only the one that has data. That's the only table we need here. And then transform it. Transform the data. And then transform the data. Just pick only the one that has what? And then transform the data. Are we together, guys? Are we still together, please? I'm waiting, I'm waiting, I'm waiting. How many of us are at the transport state now? At the transform state? How many of us have gotten to the transform state of this data now? Yes, following. Thank you. Ajayi Abiodun. Yes, good. Okay, good, good. All right, great. Let's continue. So now, what we want to do is this. We want to do some exploration. You remember while you are working with your pivot table, you were able to use your pivot functions to bring some data out, right? Did you remember? So the same thing we want to do with Power BI. Here, you don't even need to stress yourself. It's very, very stressless, right? It's very, very, very stressless. Now, just go back to your what? Since you have your data. Okay, now let's take note of something here. If you notice from after my sales category, there are some data from column 12, column 13 that we do not need. If you observe, except if it's just me, if you check that some columns in your data are just not necessary, all you just need to do is what? Click on them, click on all of them, click on all of them, click on all of them, and then right click and remove columns. Right click and remove columns. Did you see that? I've been able to clean that. I've been able to click that. So to clean that data, you see now the step I have applied here is what? Removed columns. Let me do it again. Let me remove this and then let me try and zoom in now. Now, if you notice after my sales category, which is medium, low, medium, low, medium, right? After it, there is column 12, column 13, column 14, which are not necessarily things that I need. So what do I do to them? I just remove all of them. I just remove them from the entire thing. Just click on everything and then do what? Remove columns. All right. So now I've removed it. Now that I've removed the column, so now I can now what? Close and apply my table. I can now close and apply my table. Now, the name of that table that I uploaded now is data, right? If that is the same thing you have. So this is it here. This is it here, data. Now, if you go to your data view and you click on that data, if you remember how many thousands of data, if you look at this lower part of your table, how many thousands of data values do we have there? How many types of data values do we have there? Your data view is the same thing as table view. Your data view is the same thing as table view. Your data view, if you have table, if you have report, table, model, and DAX, your data view is the same thing as your table view. Thank you, guys. Yes, that's a Sokente Prince Wheel. We have 30,799. That is what we have there, right? So now, having this on our table, go back to your report view now. Go back to your report view. We want to see how we can bring out this in a structured table, like a summarized table. Don't forget, when we were talking about pivot the other time, what did we call, or what did we say pivot emphasizes on? Anytime you are working with pivot, what did you say you want to achieve? What did you say you want to achieve? Anybody? I'm waiting. Anybody? Report, not just report. Okay, because of my time, what we want to do is you want to get the summary of your. Yes, thank you, Tony Ruth. You got that. Thank you. That's a Sokente again. Summarize large data set. Exactly. So you guys are getting it. We want to summarize the data. So how can we summarize the data? So let's come to your visualization pane now. You see what's it called now? A drop down beside it. Click on that drop down and then come to your table and matrix. Can you see your table and matrix here? Can you see your table and matrix? Now click on the table, and then you will see a table pop up empty. Can you see this now? My table is pop up and is empty. Did you see that my table is pop up and is empty? All right. Now, what do we want to do? We want to summarize that particular data inside this table, and then we want to see what it looks like. So when you just come to your data here, open it, there's a drop down beside it that will enable you to open it so that you can see all the columns that is there, right? When you open it up, you can see all the data that is there. Now, how do we want to summarize this? We want to summarize this by the region, by the, let's say, the sum of units sold, and what other thing can we see there? Maybe markets and all of that. So let me pick my region here first. If I pick it, just click it and drag it on your data. Click it and drag it on your data, on your table, I mean now. Just click the region and drag it on your table. You will see what I have. Did you see something did you see the way I dragged it? Now, did you see what I have now? Can you guys see what I'm having? So now it has streamlined all the regions to how many regions now? You can see what I'm having. How many regions does it streamline this to? Let me do it again. Let me do it again. Just come to this data. This is where your data is. This is where your data is. Thank you, Oyinkansola Fuwakwe. Just click on the region. Click and drag it and drop it on your table. Click, drag, and drop it on your table. Did you see that? I have just done that now. So how many? Thank you. 6. So now, for these 6 regions that we have, what are those things we want to summarize with this data? We want to see in the 6th region, what is the sum of the units sold of products that we have there? How can we see that? Units sold, right? You can just click, drag, and bring it in. Can you see that? Units sold, you can just drag and drop it. Did you see that? Right in front of that table, what did you see? Did you see your sum of units sold? And then you can see the total what? The total sum of units sold. All right, my guys are already telling me it's time for us to go on break. So I think we should just go on break because we are going to spend some time on this. So if we have to continue like this, except you don't want us to go on break at all. So once we come back from break, just leave your system wherever you are. Just leave it at this point. I will take it again from the table when we come back from break, and then we'll see how much you can travel. See you guys in the next 5 minutes thereabout. All right, enjoy your break. Make sure you sign in your attendance. It's very, very important. It's very, very compulsory. Thank you. See you shortly. Don't bribe your finish. All right, don't mind me. Okay, let's get back to work. So, are we back? Are we back? Are we back? Are we back? In case you are not back, please let's get back to the class. Are we back now? Yes, good. All right, now let's go. So let me take it again from the table. You remember we talked about when you are working with your pivot during the Excel class, there's a major thing you do with your pivot, and that is what? To summarize your table, right? Remember, the major thing to do is to summarize your table. When you have your pivot, is just to show the summary of your table. Oluwatosin, Olubode, you've always been attending the class but keep forgetting to sign in attendance. You know what you will do? So you can go back to some of those classes that you have watched. You will see the attendance link there. Sign it, and then it will count for you. Don't worry. Just go and sign it. The attendance is not as important as the knowledge. As soon as you can get, as long as you can get the knowledge, and then you are sure you have the knowledge, it works for you. So you can do that. You can do that. All right. So just go to the description of all those courses, maybe one week in, week out, and then you will see the attendance link there. I'm sure maybe some of them are still open, and then you can always sign in the attendance. Now, what we now want to do with our table here is just the same way we were able to bring out our pivot from that data the last time. We want to see what we can do with table functions here. Here we are not even, if you'll notice that I've not even put in any code. All I just did was let me delete this. Just a moment. I want to see the possibility of zooming in. Okay. Now, so this is what I did. I come here, locate my table, then drag it in. All right. Now, does this make sense now? I've been able to zoom in, zoom in, zoom in, zoom in. All right. So now, once you have done that, just come to your data here. This is the data we want to use. We want to use the data here. And then the first thing we want to pick is our region. Just click it and drag it on the table. Click it and drag it on the table. Did you see that? Once you click it and drag it on the table, you will see the effect. You will see the effect. The same thing, the same way you have done that. Let's see what other thing do we want to see. Let's say, for instance, we want to see it as against the market, the region as against the market. Let's bring this out. Now we can see that these are the market, all the unique markets that we have. We have markets in Federal Capital Territory, in Kogi, Adamawa, in Bauchi, in Borno, in Gombe, and all of that, right? But what we first want to see is we want to see the regions and their sales. So let's remove the market first. So let's pick the what? The unit sold. The units sold in each region. Now, can you see now? This is the sum of the units sold in where? In each region. Is this making sense? Are we together now? Summarize and analyze and make sense of large data set. Okay, well, check it. So I'm trying to check. My visualization table is bringing me graph for units sold. You must have clicked on another thing on that unit sold. You must have clicked on something else. Yes, making sense. Thank you. So please check it that you have clicked on what you should click on. Let me expand this a little. Now, I want to now add what? The revenue that was made in those regions. Look at what we have now. Now, on this table, I've been able to clearly show that we have 6 regions, and in these 6 regions, the sum of the units sold of product is this, and then the sum of revenue made from each product is this. Are we together, guys? If you say no sound, I think you should check at your hand, because I feel people are responding because they can hear me clearly. This is called DAX functions in Power BI. You don't call it pivot table in Power BI. Do you understand? You don't call it pivot table. It's one of the usage of DAX functions in Power BI. All right. So now, but if you notice, maybe we are not able to clearly see this. I don't know. You might not able to. When I mean clearly see it, like this value, you might not be able to call them the exact way they are. Maybe you are streaming your eyes to see whether it's 52,000 or 5 million or 500 and something thousand. So you can quickly do something. We can just go to our data view, revenue. Under our revenue, go to your data view. Under your revenue, click on the revenue. Now, you see where your formatting is here. Did you see where your formatting is here? You will see comma in just between the what's called percentage and then decimal places. Just add comma, click on it, and then you will see the effect. Can you see that? Click on it, and then you will see that all your values have comma now. Then come to units sold. Do the same thing for units sold. Add comma to it. Add comma to it. Now go back to your visuals. What did you notice now? Add that one for your headers. The headers of your column are showing bars with valid error empty statistics. Well, I've sent my question for 3 times now and still no response from you. What is your question, Ajayi Abiodun? Other one for you said your header is showing columns bar with valid error and empty statistics. Which table are you using? Other one for, if I may ask. Which table are you working with? Ajayi Abiodun, what's your question again? The sum has been separated. The sum, yes, the values have been separated with comma. Comma has been added to the figures. All right, that's fine. That's fine. Thank you. Please come again with the comma type now. All right. So did you get that now? So I just joined the, okay, you don't have the table. If you just joined the class and you don't have the table, please just take your time and watch the video so that you can know where the table came from. We have not shared any new data. All the data we are working with is from this class. It's blank, it's not allowing me to click it. What is blank? I can't transform nor load data on my Power BI. Why can't you do that? Why can't you do that? Okay, for the comma, let me come again with the comma. Now, this is what I did with the comma in case you did not get that part. Now, go back to your table view or your data view, as the case may be. Go back to your table view or your data view. On your revenue, click on the heading of the revenue. On the heading of the revenue now, you come up here where you have your formatting. Come up where you have your formatting. You will see comma somewhere there. You will see comma somewhere there, and then click on the comma. By the time you click on the comma, you will see comma applied on your values. Do the same thing for your unit sold, and then you will see that applied as well. Then come back to your report view. You will see it take effect. Does that make sense? Ajayi Abiodun, you said your transform or load data is blank. If it is blank, I will advise that you probably shut down your Power BI and then you reload it. Maybe that will restore whatever issue you are having. So because I cannot place where you are having that issue now. All right. So somebody is saying that make sure you click on the box by the left of the data you want to load and transform. Exactly. Exactly. So I hope you have also done that. All right. Oh, thank you, Dauda Victoria. So I've had to zoom it in. So that's why you probably are able to enjoy it better now. Thank you for that. All right. So now you notice that we have been able to bring out this table. Let's say this is all we want for this table, and then we are able to do this. Then you can bring it together and then drag it to one side and say, this is one part of your visualization. You know, you have actually been able to justify by saying that within the entire region, this is what happens. In the 6 regions that we have, this is the sum of the units sold, and this is this, and this is the that and that. All right. Now, however, are there other things we can do with this table? Are there other things we can do with this table? Yes, there are so many other things we can do with it. Now, what are those things we can do with it? You can add some more columns to it to make the table bigger, and you can just make it little by little. Now, this is one table. Let's say I have this table here. Let me probably create another table. Once you are done, you can just leave it out. When we come to visualization proper, I will tell us how to format our visuals and then make it look beautiful and all of that. When we get to visualization, we are still talking about that here now. So let me pick another table, and then let's bring out some other values from the table. And then let me bring it here. Right? Now, on this table, I want to see the regions as well. Then I want to see the market in the regions. The market in the region. Now, you see that now? You see all the market that we have in the region now? I want to open it so that you see all. Yes, now you see now. So in all the 6 regions that we have, this is the all these are all the markets that are present. Is this making sense? These are all the markets that are present. Now, what other thing can we see from here? Can we also see the market that has the highest revenue in all this region? The market that has the highest revenue. So you can just bring in this revenue and drop it on this market. And then you can see market with revenues. Can you see the market that has the highest revenue now? Can you see the market now? This is just another way of showing what we can do. Now, you remember why you are working with it in your Excel is a bit maybe technical, and you are trying to look for how. Here, all you just need to do is what? Click, drag, and then you have your answer. Click, drag, and then you have your answer. Let me reduce this so that I can increase this. Did you see that now? So you can have it in this way. Now, let's take a look at some of the things we can do with this, our tables. What are those things we can do? This is soft work. Ah, wow. Okay. By the time you get to Some other part of it, maybe your project, you will know. The figures are tiny. How can I increase it in the table? Oh, okay, Ajayi Abiodun, thank God. It's loading now. Okay, good. Power BI too sweet. It's not in descending order. Why are you rushing? Why are you running? Why are you running? Calm down. All right. These are some of the things we still see, right? Okay, so now can we also do some other things with this? Yes, we can. Really check some. Okay. Let me just move to. Should I use this particular table? You can keep this your table anyway, but let me use this table because this table will be more concise. Let me just fold this. Let me fold this a little. So let me use this table. Now, look at this table. If you look at this, you will see immediately above the table. Did you see more options? When you see three dots, you see one three dot appear somewhere there. How did I add the second table? Once you are done with your first table, just click it and drag it to how you want it to position. Then go and insert another table, empty table again, and then populate it. Yes, you can. Of course, you can. I'm just telling you in the situation where you once you tick the box, it will actually just sit on it. But I'll tell you why I'm asking you to drag, maybe at a later time. Maybe at a later time. Okay. All right. So now, what are those things we can do with this? Let me click on these three dots that I have here. Click on back on my table, then these three dots. You see export data, show as table, remove, automatically find clusters, sort ascending, sort descending. Did you see that now? Sort ascending, sort descending. For the person that was asking the other time, can you sort ascending? Can you sort descending? Did you see it now? So you can actually sort ascending, sort descending. But for you to sort ascending or descending, you see sort by beneath here. Click on sort by, and then what did you want to sort it by? Did you want to sort it by region? If you say sort by region, then it will show region. If you say sort by unit sold, it will show the unit sold as where you want to sort by. And then if you say sort by revenue, it will show the revenue as where you want to sort by. So let's say sort by region. So if I pick sort by region, I will not come back here again, click on the three dots, and then sort by region in what? In descending order. So now I can see that Southwest has the highest what? Sum of revenue, followed by South South, followed by Southeast, followed by sorry. What I sorted with is region, right? Not sum of revenue, is region. So if you follow it accordingly, descending order is from South South. Let's sort by revenue. Let's see. Let's sort by revenue. Sort by revenue. And then we can now pick descending to ascending. Yes, did you see now? So Northeast has the highest sum of revenue with 18 billion, right? Followed closely is, let me ask so that we'll see people who are following me. What region has the third largest sum of revenue? What region has the third largest sum of revenue? I'm waiting at the comment section. Hey, Professor, wait for us. Okay, I'm waiting. South South. All right. Good. I like that. I like the way the comment is rushing in. That shows quite a number of us are actually practicing. And then yours is South South. Of course, every other person still have South South. Hey, yeah, sorry, if you can't see the screen well, I think you should just watch the video later. Maybe it will have been clear at that time. So now, what region has the highest sum of units sold? Yes. What region have the highest sum of the units sold? What region have the highest sum of the units sold? Yes. What region? northeast. Thank you. So that means you guys have gotten what it looks like. You guys have gotten what it looks like. Okay? Now, what are other things that we can do with it? What are other things that we can do here? Now, we might not be able to, I might not be able to explore all of it in this ninth section, right? But when we get to our visualization, we'll do more of it. But I will show us a bit of what we should do. Now, look at this last option here. When you click on you see format. Did you see this format? When you click on this format, look at this place. Did you see your visual and property? Your visuals and your property. Did you notice it? Did you notice it? Yes, if you notice it, you see that there are quite a number of things you can actually do. Like title, I just need you guys to go and explore this. I'm not going to do much with it for now. You guys go and check it one after the other. You will see so many things you can do with it. For instance, let's pick our style preset. Our style preset here is telling us, we are on visual now. Our style preset is telling us that we are currently on what? On default style. So can we check and then see the different types of style that we have? Let's see bold elder. Can you see the bold elder now? Bold elder is now subtly adjusting my work. Is subtly giving my work some new look. Let's see some other ones. Let's see alternating rows. Did you see that? Alternating rows. That's styles, right? Flashy rows. Let's see what it looks like. Did you see that? All these are ways by which you can format your values. Now, let's now go to values. Are there things we can do with values as well? If you need to increase your values, you can actually increase the size of the value here. You can change the font of the value here. Let me pick another font. Can you see now? I've changed my font. Flashy roll is flashy indeed. Shakirat. All right. So I've changed my font. I can also add size. I can also increase my size. You see that? Then I can change my text color. My text color currently is showing white. I can change it to maybe red, and I can have background color too. Background color as another color. Don't mind the color I'm using. Don't mind the color I'm using. I'm just doing this for what? For training sake, right? Then alternate text color. So if the first color is red, what color do I want my alternate color to be? Say, for instance, I'm playing between two colors. Now, let's say red and maybe green. Maybe green. So let's say I have this now. Did you see what my alternate? Sorry, that will not. My background color is already alternate background color is already not doing justice. So let me bring this back. Can you see this now? Can you see this now? Beautiful. Power BI is really cool, right? I agree with you, Medinat. Yes, let me wait for a few more persons to do that. All right. Yours stops at sort by. Sort by. You are supposed to have some other things. Make sure you are clicking. Everyone loves Power BI. Well, that's the gist, and that's why we are having it as the last module that we are taking. Well, Maybe that's Power BI. Not honestly, Power BI is sweet actually. You guys have not seen anything yet. We're still going to do something shortly after now, and then I hope we're able to get there. Let's move faster so that we can finish this. Like just like the few things I've just done, you can explore this all these options here, and then have a whole lot of things. Column header. The column header, can you change it? Yes, you can rename it, you can increase the size, you can keep its color on its own. You want to make it have a particular unique column, can you see that? So whatever you want to do, just make sure you understand, and then you can. And one thing about it is this: once you click it and you see that it's not what you want, you can just unclick and then say this is not what you want, and then you can move on. Do you get it? So that's that. Now let me click a new sheet so that we can move to a new sheet to work. I've just only clicked. If you don't have sound, please check that you are still connected, because every other person can hear me clearly, just like I'm getting feedback from what I'm saying as well. So can we use Power BI from start to finish to work on a project without Excel or SQL, sir? The answer is yes and no. So where are you getting your data from? Where are your data sources? If your data source is not from Excel, then where is it from? If your data is not from SQL, then where is it from? Power BI is a combination of Excel and SQL on a soft level, correct? We have been Bola Jorin. So Samaluko, did you understand? So whatever we are working with here, you cannot overemphasize the data you are using and the source of the data. The source of the data we are currently working with is where? Is Excel. So that means you have to talk about it. Does that make sense? All right. So now let's look at another one. Now we have talked about table matrix. Now matrix is as close as what's it called now? Table. And then the only little difference we have here is that, did you notice this? Did you notice this now? You drag and drop more like what you want to see. Now, let me go back to my table and see the table that we can actually use for this. Let me see if I can even get another table apart from this data table. What is in sheet one? Oh, sheet one is even still this data. Table two. I'm trying to look for a data we can actually use. That is why. Okay, let's use this our data table. Then okay. Okay, so now let's go back to our view. Now, what we want to see here is this. You see that there is rows, there is column, and there is value. This is your matrix. Now, you want to build your matrix. Your matrix is just a little twist, a little difference from. No doubt, Power BI is interesting. I agree with you. Right? A little bit of twist to it. On our row, maybe on the rows, we want to see all the regions. Just come back to your data here. Click on your regions, click and drag on the row. Now, the person that was saying that if you click the other time, it takes you directly to the table. Yes, but if you click here, it might not take you to the exact place where you need to use it. I don't know whether you understand. If you just click now, so happy tonight. I've been on this Power BI for a while and I couldn't load my data, but finally, I'm so happy for you, Abiodun. I'm so happy for you. All right. So you see that region, you want to, okay, have it on the row. On the column, what do you want to see on the column of all the what? All the regions. You now want to see, let's say, I'm looking for something. So let me see. I'm trying to sales category. Okay, let me see if I can bring my sales category too much. Yes, exactly. Now, did you see this? It's not too much. So my sales category is just showing low, medium, and high. So from the region now, we now want to see the value, that is the revenue that is either low, region, low, medium, or high. Then we can now put it there. Can you see this now? Just somebody is saying this is just too sweet. This is just too sweet, right? Should I do that again? Okay, how do I have the new sheet? Just click on the plus sign here. Just click on the plus sign here in front of my page one. You can rename your page one. All right. So what I just did is I inserted my matrix, and under my matrix, your notice isn't showing at the top of the highest region. Please sort your data very well, and then you have it. Please watch the video again. We are past beyond that place you are referring us to at this point, right? So sorry about that. Now, based on the region, we want to see, can we use Power BI from start to finish to work on? Are you asking this question again? Okay, let me take it again. Let me take it again. In fact, let me delete this matrix. Now I've deleted the matrix, right? So the first thing I want to do is let me bring in my matrix. Now, what can we use matrix for? You can use matrix to sum together where you have some variations, maybe some values you want to calculate, and then you want to see the sum while you still have the values shown. Now, and I said, did you notice something like this? You see the rows, columns, and then the values. So what do you want to see? On the row level, if you want to see the regions, so I'll just click on, if you just click on the region, it might just assumably put it on anywhere, which is what fortunately on rows. Now, I now said that let's see the sales category. If you click on the sales category, it also enters what? The columns, right? And then the value. Let's click on the revenue, and then it sits on the value, and then that's just what we did. And then I extend it here, and then I'm able to see. Did you see this? Then if you click on your three box here again, you can see your format. Alternatively, did you see this pencil icon that is here? Can you see this pencil icon that is here? If you click on it, it also takes you to what? To edit more options, and then you see your format options. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Sales category. If you don't have sales categories, that means when you were learning your what's it called now? Excel. When you work on Excel that time, you did not work on that data. You did not work on that data. That's the meaning. So all you need to do is go back on that data, carry out your function to say that if, I think is what you use that time is that's when you use your ifs and if function, if and ifs functions, and all of those functions. So carry it out and then get your low, high, and medium, and then you are able to get what we have now. Does that make sense, everyone? You had to put it back. Thank you. Thank you, Wura. So you also do the same. You need to rewatch. Please go and rewatch class on that particular uh, pivot, and then you can know what to do in case you don't know what to do. All right. So because of our time, let's do one more thing, and then we can now push the remaining. Let's work on calculated columns, and after calculated columns, then maybe measures and conditional columns. We can continue them in the next class, and then from the next class, or hopefully by the last class in this week, we will now have our visualizations proper, so that by next week we end, and then we can face our project proper. All right, I hope that makes sense. Okay, so now let's go to the next thing we want to do is what is calculated columns. Now, for us to do calculated columns, how do we achieve that? Calculated columns, okay, let's do conditional columns now. Conditional columns now, and then later we'll do calculated columns. Conditional columns. Now go back to your data, and then we are still working with this data, and then let's go to home and transform data. Transform your data. Transform your data. Have you transformed your data? I do not have LMS. Can I still get registered? The question is, did you register in the first instance? If you have registered in the first instance, did you get email at all from us? If you have gotten any email from us, then your LMS matter can be resolved. Or you are just jumping on the course and then you see it. Miracle, can you just respond so that I can know what next I can tell you? Have you gotten any email from us before now? Or you are just jumping on this class while just checking online? Well, while I'm waiting for Miracle to respond to that. Now, what we want to do is this. We want to work on conditional column. Now, what do we mean by conditional column? What we are saying about what conditional column means is that if a particular condition is true, then put this answer, else put that answer. Does that make sense? We are specifying a condition for our data that look through all of this data. You remember we have about 30,000 data here. Look through all of this 30,000 data, and then once you see this condition, meet with it and then put this value as it. Does that make sense? So that's what we want to do now. So we have transformed our data. Let's click on the data we want to order as data, and then we'll come here. Now, under your add column, now, once you click, you have to click on the data you are working with here when you get to your query, right? So I'm working with my data. That is why I click this data here, and then you can have my data here. So under my add column, click on add column. Click on your add column, and then just beneath it, you see conditional column. Click on your conditional column, and then you see a window pop up. Can you see this window pop up? Are we together, please? How many people are still with me on this call? How many people are still with me on this call? Let me see, let me see, let me see. Oh, thank you, Shakirat. I like that. Thank you. You know, I actually practically have cramped some names because I know the way they follow back to back. Like sometimes they even run like Samaluko, like Shakirat, like Rashidat. I think I saw another name there that I see Aishat, Mohammed. I can see Aye Gualo. Yes, those are some of the names I think I see most times, right? Very, very encouraging. Very encouraging. I like that. See the way it's even the thing is rushing. I cannot even pick names again. Okay, so now look at this. We want to now rename this as, let's call it a regional number. Now, let me tell us what we want to do. What we want to do is this. Like I asked the other time, how many regions do we have? How many regions do we have? I like that. Esther following you back to back. How many regions do we have again? I'm asking. 6. Thank you. Allow. Thank you. So now what we want to do is this. We want to say that anywhere you see southwest, put it as 1. Or anywhere you see southeast, put it as 2. Now, why do we need to do this? Now, these are some of the things you really need to understand. This is the technical part of it. So pay attention. You remember all we have been doing since I've just been telling us what to do, and then we are just doing it. Some of these things, nobody will tell you this is what you need to do. You need to actually creatively come to when you need to do it. Say, for instance, you were asked to probably categorize the region into a figure where you can probably sum them or put them as numbers. Nobody will tell you that you need to use a conditional function, but you can say 6 now. But how can you convert southwest to maybe like 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6? This is what we want to do. So anywhere you see southwest, put it as 1. Anywhere you see southeast, put it as 2. Anywhere you see south, put it as 3. If you see north central, put it as 4. If you see northeast, put it as 5. If you see northwest, then put it as 6. So it will now summarize now all those regions from 1 to 6. Does that make sense? So that is what we want to do now. So let's rename it as name now. Say region number. Region what? Region number. Is that making sense? So that's the new column name is what? Region number. Now, the first, you see the condition we now have, it said if what? Column name. What is the column name we want to look? That is region, right? If region, the operator here is equal to what? Now, let me tell you something that you need to pay attention to here. If you need to get your exact answer, you must type exactly the same way is in your data table. If you miss anything, let's say case or character or space, you will not or you might not get the answer. For instance, now, if region is equal to southwest, I now type my southwest like this. Now, guys, is this what I have in my table? This is not what I have in my table. So I will have issues. I will have issues. So I will type it exactly the same way it is. So that is what? Southwest. If region equals southwest, then what? Then put what? All right. Then add another clause. So if the condition you want to specify is just one, then you can just say else, other things. But if the condition is more than one, let's say now we have like 5 or 6 conditions to check between now, you will add another clause. And what is the other clause? The other clause says else if. Now, for people who have the knowledge of programming language, you see that what you are just clicking to do now, ordinarily you are supposed to be coding it to say if, you remember in your Excel function, if a particular column region equals this, comma, then this, else, if you remember when you are doing your dialog box, Python, thank you, Fortune Sunday. Then when you are working with your Excel also, you remember when you are doing, what's it called now? Your function inside function. I don't know whether some of us still remember. Your function in function. When you are bringing out another function inside that function, you remember, right? In SQL, you have something like that too. So that is the way it is. But here, all you just need to do is just what? Click, soft work, right? Don't mind Power BI. Power BI is just too soft. It's just too soft. Don't worry. By the time you start working on the project, you will know what's up. So if region is what equals to what? The next one is what? Southeast. Right? Then let's put what? 2. Then you can add another clause to say if region equals what? South. Right? Then put 3. Then add another clause to say if region equals north central, put 4, right? Add clause if region equals northeast, don't forget, don't make a mistake while you are typing. If need be, you need to copy and paste from there so that you don't make mistake. Type 5, else type what? 6. So anywhere you see from southwest, southeast, south, which is what? Northwest. So that's what it means, because that is the last option. X type of 6, and then come here and click what? OK. Now look at this. If you come to this, what is here? Did you see it? Did you see this? Did you see my last column here? I have 5, 4, because this is what? Now, sometimes your conditional column can also be used as calculated columns. Your conditional column can be used as calculated columns. I should recap. Okay. Of course, this is the last thing we are doing tonight. So let me recap. Let me remove the conditional column here so that I can recap. So now look at this. Come to your what? Add column, then conditional column. Then what is my condition? My condition is what? Region number, right? Region number. And then you want to select each, if region equals what? You want to pick the region one after the other, south, west. Type what? One. Else, then add clause. Since you have more than one or two conditions, else if region equals what? Southeast. I'm doing this again because of the person that asked that we do it again. Type 2, add clause if region equals south-south. Put what? 3. Now, there's one more important thing I need to show us so that you pay attention. Please don't lose guard. If region equals what? South. Okay, not central now. The fourth one, not central. Right? Put 4. Add clause if region equals northeast. Then put what? 5. Then else put 6. Then you click on your OK, and by now you should see your new column. Can you see my new column now, which is what? Region number. So this is showing 4, which means this is what? North Central. Please, sir, I need your Aziz. You need my contact email address or that of anyone that will respond. Okay, you can just reach out on what's it called now, on Telegram. You should be able to reach out on Telegram actually. Olubukola Aziz, you should be able to reach out on Telegram. Or if you have any need and then you are not able to get through to Telegram, just send a mail to the incubator email. Yes, then you can now put that a particular your data analysis facilitator, his name, and then it will definitely get to me. So let's see if let's pick it up from there. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so now, but please take note of something. Look at my data type here. What data type do I have here? Look at my data type here. My data type here is showing what? It's showing text and number, but then it's not supposed to be. So just click on this, and then you see the data text. Click on this, and then you see it, and then change it to what? O number. Change it to O number, and now your data is very correct. Now your data is very correct. Let's do something very quickly so that you can see what I'm saying. Can we plot on our table now? Can we show on our table these region numbers as against the regions? Region numbers against the regions. Let's go back to our what? Our visualizations. Come here and do close and apply. Close and apply. And then come to our visualization. And this is the last thing we are doing. Come to your visualization. Let's click, put a new table here. Put a new table here. And then on your table now, on your table, what you need to put here is your region and their respective number. Sum of region number. Now, okay, I think there's something I did not even talk about, right? Maybe at the next class. Maybe at the next class. I hope. This is just sum of region number. We can also have a unique count to say that, let's say, count of region number. Don't summarize. Did you see that? Did you see this? Don't worry. I hope probably at the next class we are able to do this, right? So let me look at if there are any question. I am having issues saving my data on Power BI after I've worked on them. You should not have any issue. Just go to your file. On your file, click on it and then save it. Yes. What if our condition is yes or no? How do we go about it? So if a particular condition is So if condition is yes, check the options that is there. You will see it there. Then what is the output? If your condition is yes, what output do you want to see? Do you understand? If your condition is yes, what output do you want to see? You specify it. If your condition is no, what condition do you want? What output do you want to see? You also specify it. All right. Tonight class is very interesting. Many thanks. Thank you so much. Okay, please recap. Just watch the video for recap, and then you will get the best recap from the video when you watch it again. I hope that makes sense now. Okay. Yeah, thank you so much, Ikunjobi. Kudos to you too for staying true. The last thing you did, sir, please recap on the last thing I did. Okay, the last thing I did for okay, I know it's past our time already. The last thing I did was to bring out my table, just like we have done the other time. And then what I did was let me delete it and then let me bring out my table again. My table, and on my table here, I want to see my region. I want to see my region, and then I want to see what? The region number. The region number now. So, but what the region number is giving me is what? The sum of all the region numbers. But what I want to see is the number of each region. Then what I will do is this. I will come under my settings here, sum of regions, region number, and then I'll come to the aggregation. Under the aggregation, I will tell you, do not summarize, do not sum it up. That's summarize. Jesus, my back. Oh, yes, so you can see it. Fumbi, it is well with your back. All right. So now I said do not summarize. Here, after I've done this, I can still rearrange this in alphabetical order. I can just quickly come here. Let me come to sort by what? Region number. And then I can now pick either descending or ascending order. Let me pick ascending order. Then I have it from 1 to 6. Does that make sense? All right, guys. I wish you guys all the best. Pick the video over and over again. If you need to watch it 2, 3 times, please do not hesitate. And then I can assure you, you will enjoy it. Your region number count came out as count directly. Yes, because it is on do not summarize. My region number came out as region numbers. Thank you so much for tonight, sir. God bless you. Thank you too. Please, how do I bring my icons on top? Which of your icons exactly? Can we use conditional column for values, sir? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. By the time we get to a data, we're going to be working with a data hopefully by next week or later this week. A lot of us here is just trying to meet up the steps with the facilitator, but truth is that's not a good way to learn, fellows. All the best to you. All right, thank you everyone for staying through tonight. It's been a wonderful time, and I want to believe you have had a good time tonight. Thank you. See you at the next class. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you, Madam Yetunde.